Good morning, world. Someone recently asked me the question, is it possible for someone who suffers from depression to have it be completely cured from depression and have it completely gone and never come back? And of course, I wasn't able to give her a clear answer to that because it always depends on the person and what is going on with them. For example, a person who suffers a single episode depression because that was triggered by a specific event happening in their lives, that person could deal with that one episode, and then after that event is gone and they've dealt with that episode, never experience another episode of depression. However, there are people who suffer from chronic depression for whom the depression is more likely to continue to come back. But what was most important that I told her was that there are things that you can do to help reduce the likelihood of a crisis, to help prevent a crisis, if you would. And that's what we're talking about. 5 things that you can do to help prevent a crisis. One is to keep up with whatever it is that you did or have been doing to help you reduce or eliminate your symptoms. For instance, if you were taking medication, going to therapy, if we always talk about depression specifically being where you do a lifestyle change. If you made that lifestyle change and it has been helping, you need to keep up with that. Once things start getting better and your symptoms are managed, a lot of times you're able to cut down on some of the things. For instance, you may be able to reduce the medication that you were taking. You may be able to cut down on your therapy. But of course, for those things, it's important to discuss them with your providers. Don't just stop taking your medication. Discuss it with your prescriber, and then taper off as based on your needs. And same thing with your therapy. Instead of just vanishing and never showing up, discuss it with your therapist, and maybe you will go from a weekly to bi-weekly, maybe even monthly. But don't just vanish. Just take your time and work it out. Work a plan that works for you with your providers. 2, stay connected with your support system. And of course, your support system includes your providers, your therapists, your doctors, all of those are part of your support system. But of course, there are your friends and family members, people in your life who have been helpful in helping you manage or keep your symptoms at bay. Stay connected with those people, because they will continue to do whatever part that they have been doing to help you manage your symptoms. And of course, they provide all that fun stuff in your life. And they are also good spotters. So they're more likely to notice if things start going, if things start going south, if a problem starts appearing, they're more likely to notice. 3, learn to identify and know your triggers, because a lot of times before a crisis happens, the triggers show up. Things that are kind of warning signs that, hey, crisis may be coming up. Learn to identify your triggers. That way, when a trigger is presented, you can take the time and do whatever it is that is necessary to address the issue so that you don't have to get to crisis mode before you start acting. 4, stop trying to not have whatever the condition, whether it's depression or any other illness. Stop trying not to have it and focus on being healthy. Because when you're so focused on, hey, I want to not have depression. So every time when a trigger presents, instead of facing it, when you're so focused on trying to not have whatever the condition is, you're more likely to try to make excuses or try to find other reasons to explain the symptoms that you see. But when you're focusing on being healthy, when you notice something that is other than healthy, then you're able to address, hey, this is not part of my healthy, and you can face it, as opposed to, hey, maybe I'm spending every day in bed because I'm tired, as opposed to you're spending every day in bed because you're getting depressed. 5, make life affirming activities a priority, because when it is a priority, it's a good way. When it's a priority, you're giving your body, your mind, your spirit that positivity that it needs. But it is also a good way to help you spot when things are going south. When you are normally active and engaged in your life and you start going, a lot of times, especially with depression, one of the symptoms is that people start withdrawing from all the life affirming things that they normally would engage in. So when if you make life affirming activities a priority, then when you start noticing that you're not engaging as much, then you can see that, hey, something may be up. Let's do a quick recap because I know I've been talking for a minute. 1, keep up with the things that you did to help you get rid of your symptoms. 2, stay connected with your support system because they're both as good at helping you stay healthy as well as spotting if something's coming up. 3, learn to identify your triggers because by identifying triggers early, you can prevent full crisis from getting here. 4, stop trying not to have whatever it is that you have, whether it's depression, and focus on being healthy. That way, if you see a warning sign, you can address it instead of trying to make excuses for it, or trying to explain it from some other way. And finally, make life affirming activities a priority in your life because it's good at providing the positive as well as it's a good way to help you spot when something's up. And as always, if you are dealing with something that is more than you can handle, please remember that there's a lot of help out there. So please reach out and get that help. And that is all we have for today. Good morning, world. Have an awesome day.